89.9 Light FM with Clayton taking you through for your morning and on one-on-one today. As we head up to Christmas, I think this is a very important topic. Having a chat to Wilson Luna. He is one of the authors of Real Money Advice for Families. He joins me on the line. G'day, Wilson.
G'day, Clayton, and thanks for having us on your show, mate.
Hey, no problems at all. You've written this book along with your wife, Anna Laura, and you're both accountants and wealth advisors. Is that correct?
Correct, mate, correct.
There you go. Now, is that how, before we get into the really nitty-gritty of all this stuff, how did you meet? Was it through the work, or was it just happened to be a fluke?
No, believe it or not, we actually met when we were 17 years old, so we've known each other for life just about, and actually it was interesting, yesterday was the 20th year since we met, 12-year wedding anniversary, so it's been a while.
That is fantastic. So there you go. Did you influence each other's sort of decisions about what you wanted to do career-wise?
No, funnily enough, we had fairly similar views, and I mean we come from we come from out west in Sydney, which is I suppose the working class or the blue collar side of Sydney, and all the way through, I suppose, through particularly through the accounting and finance side of it, we always said, when we get the chance or when we finally find our own feet, we're going to try and give back something so families like ours can sort of get the value of, I suppose, the things that we've learned along the way, and that's a combination, and that's how we sort of put together this book.
Yeah, that's great aims to have too. The book is sort of designed to help. I suppose the subplot of the book is a 4-step program helping Aussie families prosper through the global financial crisis. Have you sensed that there's been sort of a move for families to actually say, look, I need to look at something during this financial crisis. I need to be sort of planning a bit more what I'm doing?
Oh, absolutely. Look, if nothing more, what we're finding is that the uncertainty that's out there at the moment, and although we're getting some glimmer of hope and we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel, a lot of families, I mean, let's just look 6 months ago. We're thinking the economy was going to go over the cliff. We're thinking, I think petrol prices were around about the $1.50 mark, and we were paying, we were beginning to worry about where we were, our shopping cart or our shopping period. It's going through the roof. I mean, we've had about 40% increase in grocery prices over the last 10 years alone. So it started getting hard, and we started hearing it from families saying to us, okay, well, look, there's just not enough to go around every single week, and what we used to do comfortably, we can't do anymore. And then add on to that at the moment, I mean, although we've got historically low interest rates, they are on their way up, and, all indications are that they'll continue going up. And considering we've got a lot of debt on our houses, etc., it's hurting families. So we thought, let's address that and let's help them how they can get out of this, or at least how they can alleviate the situation they're in.
Is it sort of specific to certain types of families? Some families have a small amount of disposable income, some have a lot more, some have none at all. Is there sort of a particular family that you're trying to aim at, the ones that can actually maybe recover or thrive a bit better?
It's interesting because part of the whole concept behind the book was, let's help, because there's a lot out there about these sophisticated strategies on how to help people get from wealthy to very wealthy. And we said, no, that's not where we want to go. Let's help families in the other part of the spectrum, which is basically covers an 80% of families, which is everybody from, and we've divided the book specifically into 4 stages, because whether you're in debt currently, or whether you're in the process of, you just got out of debt, or you haven't got any debt and you want to learn how to properly invest your money, or the techniques behind, or the basics behind investing your money properly and diversified and safely, we thought we've got to cover all those 4 spectrums. So we said, okay, well, let's look at the 4 spectrums. The 4 spectrums are basically, you need to manage your debt before you even think of building any wealth. And if you've done that and you've managed to, I suppose, be in a situation where you've got no debt, the next step is protect the wealth that you have. Protect your wealth by getting out a little emergency fund, so if something goes wrong, one of you happens to lose a job or whatever, you've got something there to get you through the bad points. So once you've protected your wealth, we say, okay, if you're at that stage, okay, now take control. Taking control means, set up the appropriate budget, start saying, okay, well, let's make this year, or especially in the times that we're in at the moment, let's make 2010 better than 2009 was. So let's budget for it, plan for it. Let's work out where we are today, and then let's look where we're going tomorrow, or where we want to go tomorrow, and then let's put some signposts along the way. So all the way through, we've got some kind of compass for knowing whether we're on track or we're off track. And lastly, if we manage to do that, let's go to the 4th step, which is let's start building some wealth. But let's not do it, Now, as the adage goes, nobody, if somebody says to you, you're going to build wealth overnight or you're going to become rich overnight, probably run the other way because, we've been in the industry, we've got combined 20 years experience in the industry, and one thing we've learned over that time is that there is no get-rich-quick system. It's all about, doing the basics consistently over time. Yeah. And the clever money knows that, and we need to sort of, I suppose, embrace that or take it upon ourselves to say, okay, if we put in the right plan today, tomorrow will be a better day because we've got to learn how to diversify all our investments so we don't get stuck in a particular area. We've got to learn how to, budget properly. We've got to learn how to, I suppose, take the accountability that, if we are in a bad place or if for whatever reason we are in a bit of debt, it's our responsibility that we've got in there, but it's also, the great thing about it is if we created it, we can also get ourselves out of it. So it's that mixture of things.
Yeah, exactly right. I think, highlighting that point that there's, like most things in life, you've got to work at stuff to get there. You can't just have it fall in your lap. I wanted to mention, one person who has sort of gone through your journey and studied, through the book and through the plans that you've done. I loved what they said. They said, our family's main problem wasn't how much money we made, but rather what we chose to do with it. And I think that's a big issue, especially in a Western society where, here we have so many options to spend our money on. And really, if we want to be, right down to the crux of it, things that we don't have to have in life, they're not absolute necessities. And people seem to be able to just spend money.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head. We've been so fortunate over the last 14 years at least. We've just been going from boom to boom to boom, and unfortunately part of that is that Western society mentality where we want to buy everything that sometimes we don't need. And it's coming back to basics and saying, okay, well, what's really important to my family? And I'm not saying do without the things that I suppose the luxuries in life, because they're part of life.
Yeah.
But don't overindulge in those luxuries and start missing out on the essentials that we really do need.
Yeah. My guest on 101 today is Wilson Luna. He is the author, or one of the co-authors, along with his wife, Anna Laura, of Real Money Advice for Families. We're going to put him on the spot as we come up to Christmas. What things can he give us some good tips about wealth management and about, making sure we have control of our finances as we head up to Christmas? And I'm not just talking, don't spend heaps of money on Christmas presents that you can't afford. Some more things like that. I'm sure that will be one of his tips, but some more of those tips coming up next here on Light FM.
This is Your Morning with Clayton V. Allen on 89.9 Light FM.
89.9 Light FM with Clayton taking you through for Your Morning. And on 101 today, my guest is Wilson Luna, one of the co-authors of the book Real Money Advice for Families. We've heard already about the four-step program that, I suppose not program, the idea of a management schedule really for your own family, isn't it, Wilson?
Yeah,
it's a bit more what it's like of managing debt, then protecting the wealth, taking financial control, and building wealth. I want to specifically bring it back to Christmas as we're getting so close to Christmas now, Wilson, and looking at Christmas time, what people can do to make sure that financially they're in a good, solid place. Now, obviously, the first thing, you don't overspend on Christmas present. I think everyone understands that. Don't spend more than what you've actually got. But for some people, that's actually quite hard, isn't it?
Yeah, easier said than done. Yeah, and not even for ourselves. We've got we're, as a family, we've got our own rules, and these are the three main rules we sort of run with. We say, number one, write your list. So the list includes what you want to buy, for who, and how much you want to spend on that gift. So we write down a list of three things. What we want to buy, who's the person we're going to buy it for, and how much we want to spend. So when we go out, we've got a very good idea, and at least in our mind, we know exactly where we're going. Number two, we say take cash with us versus credit cards. So let's say that we add up the entire list, and the entire list says, $1,000, for argument's sake. Well, we'll go, instead of grabbing the credit card and trusting it, we say, no, let's go out there, let's withdraw $1,000, and we will know all the way through how much is getting spent on each item. So it's a great monitoring system.
It's a lot easier to know when you sort of got a whole lot of $50 notes and suddenly you've only got, a few left. You know that you're moving.
Unfortunately, during Christmas it does happen.
Yeah.
And look, and even on that front, even if you're out, sort of schedule, because you want to make shopping, or I suppose Christmas shopping, a fun time. It only comes one time a year. Even schedule the lunches or the food or the things that you do in between the shopping events into that budget as well. So you've got it all in there. You know that, if you're a family of four, well, you're going to have to eat in between the day when you're shopping. So maybe put $50, $60 aside to make sure that that's an enjoyable part of it as well. Because you don't want to make it doom and gloom during that day. You want to sort of say, I want to get everybody everything that they need, plus we're going to stay within a budget so we feel good after the event.
Yeah.
Lastly is shop and compare online. The amazing world of online has sort of come to age, and we live in the 21st century now, and it's quite amazing. We've done a fair bit of research on comparable products online. And a good idea is to always get all the prices online first, and then when you go to the shops, at least you're making sure that you're not overpaying for the same item you can get online at 30, maybe 50% less.
I think that's a huge part of it now, isn't it? That the online element, that it's something that no other generation has had. That we can actually, we should be able to financially manage perhaps even better because we have that opportunity to check everything out even before we leave home. But it's something that maybe we're not doing. I think that's a really positive thing. I don't think I've heard any other person in wealth management sort of idea actually talking about that.
Yeah, like we said, it's the 21st century, and I think it's one of those areas that, we're so underused, and now it's there and it's live, and I suppose it's more accessible to everybody today. And, the websites that are around at the moment, I mean, the price, the only condition or the only caveat is because it's Christmas, you sometimes have to get in there about a week early, because it does take a bit to get the stuff delivered to you. But if you can sort of, you've got enough time at the moment. If you can make enough time pre-Christmas, you could save hundreds of dollars. Yeah,
absolutely. Or at absolute worst, take that price and go down to the shops and say, "This is what I can get it. Can you do it for me now?" And see what you can do.
Yeah, and if you save a fair bit on Christmas, on the Christmas presents that you thought you were going to buy after you've written out that list and the amount you're going to spend on all those all those items, and you do save a fair bit online, use that money, and I know I've got the wealth manager in me's got to come out now. Put it into your mortgage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pay off some of that mortgage.
Yeah, and we feel better all round. Exactly right.
Exactly.
Hey, Wilson, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your tips. Thanks for sharing a bit about it. And, of course, thanks for writing this book, Real Money Advice for Families as well. Really appreciate your time this morning.
No, Clayton, thank you, mate, and thanks for having us on your show. Huh?
Fantastic. Wilson Luna, the author of the book, or one of the co-authors, along with his wife Anna Laura, Real Money Advice for Families. We'll have the podcast of this available up online by 1 o'clock this afternoon. You'll be able to click through to lightfm.com.au, then shows your morning, and you'll find all the details there completely free to download and listen once again. This is Light FM. On the way next, we've got a comedy classic.